The celebration of love and happiness built around the Obamas is deeply rooted in a long-standing legacy of community, service, and a belief in collective progress that has defined both Barack and Michelle Obama for decades. When people talk about the Obamas, they often highlight the speeches, the political achievements, the major historical firsts, and the global recognition. But beneath all of that, there exists a foundation of service that started long before public office and continues long after the presidency. This foundation is what gives love and happiness an Obama celebration, its emotional power. It is not just about honoring two individuals, but about honoring the values they embodied and the communities they uplifted. Barack Obama's journey began in neighborhoods where people felt overlooked, where voices often went unheard, and where hope sometimes felt like a distant dream. Working as a community organizer in Chicago, he encountered the real challenges people faced: families struggling economically, young people without direction, workers who felt invisible to the larger political system. Instead of seeing these issues as barriers, he saw them as opportunities to bring people together. He learned firsthand that change does not start in grand institutions or powerful offices, but in small rooms, in church basements, in local centers, and in conversations among neighbors who believe in something better. This early experience shaped every part of his philosophy. Progress requires participation, and participation requires people believing that their efforts truly matter. Michelle Obama's story is woven with similar threads of humility, service, and resilience. Growing up on the south side of Chicago in a working-class family, she understood the value of community support, educational opportunity, and hard work. Her professional path led her into roles where she could help lift others, encouraging young people to pursue higher education, supporting families in underserved neighborhoods, and working to build programs that expanded access to healthcare and job opportunities. What made her work extraordinary was not just the scale of her impact, but the sincerity with which she connected to ordinary people. She spoke their language, understood their struggles, and carried a deep belief that every child deserved a chance to dream without limits. Her presence in any space turned it into a place of encouragement, empowerment, and authenticity. Together, Barack and Michelle Obama formed a partnership built not only on love, but on a shared devotion to improving lives. Their celebration of service has always been less about speeches and more about real actions, creating programs, mentoring young leaders, encouraging civic engagement, and promoting education and health initiatives. The reason their story resonates so deeply with so many is because they did not simply rise to power. They brought millions of people along with them, urging individuals from all walks of life to believe that they could make a difference. This is a legacy that love and happiness, an Obama celebration, showcases with pride and emotional depth. The celebration also reflects how the Obamas turned the White House into a symbol of inclusivity, culture, and community building. They opened its doors to students, families, artists, and activists, transforming it from a distant institution into a space where everyday people felt welcomed. Their cultural events brought together musicians, poets, authors, and innovators who reflected the diversity of America. These gatherings were not simply performances, they were affirmations that every background, every story, and every talent contributes to the nation's identity. It was a reminder that the White House belonged to the people, not just as a historic landmark, but as a living symbol of unity. Service for the Obamas has never been about charity, it has been about empowerment. Instead of viewing communities through a lens of weakness or neediness, they approached them with the belief that people are capable of incredible things when given the right tools and opportunities. For example, the Obama Foundation's focus on leadership development shows how deeply they value investing in future generations. By mentoring young leaders from across the world, they are ensuring that their spirit of service and civic engagement continues to spread long beyond their time in office. The idea is simple yet powerful. One generation lifts the next, and progress moves forward through shared responsibility. What makes this legacy truly special is how it blends compassion with practicality. Both Barack and Michelle Obama understood that real service requires more than passion. It requires policies, programs, and systems that give people sustainable pathways to succeed. Whether it was the fight to expand healthcare, the push to improve educational access, or the efforts to support military families, their initiatives reflected a commitment to solving problems with long-term vision rather than temporary solutions. This balanced approach is a major reason their work remains relevant and respected even years after leaving office. A significant part of their celebration is also the recognition of how they carried themselves during times of crisis. When the country faced economic collapse, racial tensions, or national tragedies, the Obamas consistently responded with empathy and steadiness. They listened to communities in pain, elevated marginalized voices, and encouraged people to stay hopeful even when circumstances felt overwhelming. Their leadership emphasized healing and unity rather than division, reminding the world that strength does not come from force or dominance, but from understanding and solidarity. This emotional intelligence became one of their greatest gifts to the nation. Service, in their vision, extends beyond political work. It is deeply human. They have shown through their words and actions that every person has a role to play in shaping their community. Whether someone volunteers at a school, mentors a young person, supports a neighbor, or stands up for a cause, each action contributes to a larger movement toward progress. The Obamas encouraged people to find their own forms of service, not by imitating their journey, but by embracing their own passions and strengths. This message is reflected beautifully in celebrations dedicated to them. The focus is never solely on their achievements, but on what their example inspires others to do. Their legacy of service has also created a powerful cultural shift. They broadened the definition of leadership to include kindness, empathy, and emotional maturity. They made it clear that leaders do not have to be loud, aggressive, or self-centered. Instead, leadership can be patient, thoughtful, and people-focused. This shift is especially important for young people who may feel pressured to conform to outdated ideas of strength. Through their example, the Obamas taught millions that leadership is most impactful when it elevates others rather than seeks personal glory. Another important aspect of their service is the way they championed global citizenship. They encouraged people to think beyond borders, to understand different cultures, and to recognize the interconnectedness of world communities. Whether addressing climate change, supporting girls' education across the globe, or promoting international cooperation, their approach showed that service is not confined to one country, but extends to humanity as a whole. This global perspective helped many people see themselves as part of something larger, fostering a sense of shared responsibility for the planet and the future. Love and happiness, an Obama celebration, captures all these layers of their legacy in a single emotional message. Service is a form of love. Loving a community means investing in its growth, protecting its people, and believing in its potential. Loving a nation means seeing its flaws, acknowledging its struggles, and still choosing to fight for its progress. Loving humanity means embracing diversity, respecting differences, and recognizing the dignity in every person. The Obamas showed that love is not passive, it is active, intentional, and transformative. Even after leaving the White House, their commitment to service has not wavered. Through books, speeches, foundations, and global programs, they continue to inspire millions. Their post-presidency is not a time of retreat, but a continuation of their mission, supporting new leaders, empowering young women, building community networks, and advocating for justice and equality. Their visibility remains a beacon of hope, especially in times when the world feels divided or uncertain. Ultimately, the celebration is not simply a tribute to what the Obamas have done, but a reminder of what we all can do. It encourages people to look within their communities and find ways to uplift others. It invites individuals to reflect on their own gifts and use them to create positive change. It sends a message that service is not reserved for those in high positions. It is a responsibility and privilege that belongs to everyone. Through their example, Barack and Michelle Obama have shown that love and happiness are not destinations but practices, daily acts of empathy, support, courage, and collective care. The celebration of the Obamas places a profound emphasis on the extraordinary partnership, love, and mutual support that Barack and Michelle Obama have shared throughout their journey. Their relationship has long been admired not just because they were the first African-American first couple to serve in the White House, but because they modeled a form of love that is grounded in respect, equality, teamwork, and shared purpose. In a world where public figures often present carefully curated images of themselves, the Obamas stood out as authentic, transparent, and emotionally connected. This authenticity is what makes the theme of love and partnership such an integral part of any tribute dedicated to them. When audiences listen to their speeches, read their writings, or watch moments from their lives, they witness a couple who not only supported each other privately, but also uplifted one another publicly in a way that became inspirational for families around the world. Their story began long before politics entered the picture, long before global headlines and presidential campaigns. It began in the real, humble environment of Chicago, where Michelle Robinson was assigned to mentor a young law intern named Brock Ubama at her firm. The beauty of their relationship lies in the fact that it was built slowly, thoughtfully, and sincerely. Michelle was initially hesitant to date someone she was mentoring, but Barack's grounded personality, charm, intellectual depth, and genuine sense of direction drew her in. What stands out most in their early relationship was the bond of respect they built from the start. Barack admired Michelle not just for her beauty, but for her ambition, strength, and intelligence. Michelle admired Barack for his values, the quiet intensity of his purpose, and his unshakable belief in possibilities even when circumstances didn't seem favorable. This early dynamic, two people empowering each other rather than competing, became a defining element of their partnership. As their lives grew more complex, as they married and started raising their daughters, they faced overwhelming pressures that would have shaken many relationships. Barack's political ambitions required long hours, mental discipline, and the constant strain of public scrutiny. Michelle, who was building her own career while nurturing a young family, carried a tremendous load as well. Yet, rather than allowing these pressures to pull them apart, they found ways to weave them together. Michelle has often spoken about how Barack made time for the things that mattered, how he never let the chaos of political life disconnect him from his family. Even when exhausted or stressed, he found ways to stay grounded, whether by reading to the girls at night, joining family dinners, or purposely carving out moments of intimacy and connection. These actions were never grand gestures but small, consistent demonstrations of love, reminding people everywhere that relationships thrive not through dramatic declarations, but through everyday commitment. The strength of their partnership was put to the ultimate test during Barack's presidential campaigns and time in office. Running for president is not just emotionally draining. It exposes a couple to intense critique, relentless schedules, and little room for privacy. Yet Michelle never allowed the pressure of public expectation to overshadow her role as a supportive partner. She campaigned tirelessly, not because she wanted the spotlight, but because she believed in her husband's vision and wanted to be part of something greater than herself. She also remained grounded, reminding him and the nation, of the importance of humility, grace, and compassion. Her speeches became iconic not only because of her eloquence, but because they reflected her genuine belief in her husband and the values they shared. What made their partnership even more admirable was the balance they maintained. Neither overshadowed the other, neither tried to dominate the narrative. Michelle respected Barack's role as president, but Barack also respected Michelle's voice, insights, and influence. He often acknowledged her as not just his spouse, but his advisor, anchor, and equal partner. In private moments and public addresses, Barack spoke about Michelle with deep admiration, often crediting her for stabilizing him, shaping him, and challenging him to stay true to his values. This mutual support became a powerful message for couples everywhere, particularly for young people growing up without many examples of healthy, equal partnerships in public life. In the White House, their love story became even more visible. The way they smiled at each other across rooms, shared inside jokes, held hands during ceremonies, or simply exchanged quiet glances revealed a bond rooted in genuine affection. Their relationship reminded the world that even in the highest levels of power, love could remain real, warm, and unaffected. They became symbols of a healthy marriage, one that embraces imperfections, fights through hard days, celebrates small victories, and supports each partner's growth. Michelle's role as First Lady further illustrated the depth of their partnership. She launched nationwide initiatives centered on education, health, military families, and girls' empowerment. Barack never framed her contributions as secondary or ceremonial. He championed her work, uplifted her platform, and ensured the world understood the significance of what she was doing. Michelle, in return, grounded the family in stability and love during turbulent political moments. She protected their daughters fiercely, kept their daily routines as normal as possible, and ensured that their home remained a space of warmth rather than pressure. Their ability to maintain a strong marriage in the face of unprecedented demands was not accidental. It came from deliberate effort. Michelle has openly discussed the challenges they faced, including the times when they struggled, argued, or felt overwhelmed. But what made their love enduring was the willingness to confront these struggles honestly. They sought counseling when needed, communicated openly about their frustrations, and recognized that love is not self-sustaining. It requires work, patience, and willingness to grow together. Their honesty about the real work behind their relationship made them even more relatable and inspiring to millions around the world. The celebration of love and happiness inspired by the Obamas also highlights how their relationship is rooted in friendship. They genuinely enjoy each other's company, share humor, debate ideas, and uplift each other's dreams. Even after leaving the White House, their partnership continues to shine through in interviews, documentaries, and public appearances. Whether they're discussing a book project, supporting the Obama Foundation, or simply teasing each other in light-hearted moments, their connection remains strong, warm, and authentic. What sets their love apart is the shared mission they continue to pursue. Their relationship is not confined to romance. It is built on a vision of community service, leadership, and the desire to create positive change. They strive to inspire young people to build strong relationships, treat each other with respect, encourage one another's ambitions, and view partnership not as a burden, but as a powerful force for transformation. Their love story sends the message that strong relationships can uplift families, strengthen communities, and even influence nations. Another profound aspect of their partnership is the way they represent equality. Their marriage is a model of two individuals who support each other's identities and aspirations without diminishing themselves. Michelle often emphasized that she did not lose herself in her husband's career. She maintained her own identity, values, and goals. Barack encouraged her independence, celebrated her accomplishments, and consistently recognized her as a powerful leader in her own right. This mutual empowerment made their partnership not just loving but deeply progressive, showing that love flourishes when both partners feel seen, heard, and valued. Their dedication to raising their daughters within this framework of love and unity further strengthens the message they represent. They prioritized family dinners, attended their daughters' school events whenever possible, and maintained routines that grounded their children despite enormous public pressure. They taught Sasha and Malia the values of kindness, humility, and empathy, emphasizing that love within a family is expressed through consistency, presence, and respect. The impact of their partnership extends far beyond their personal lives. Millions of people, especially young couples, look to them as an example of what a strong, healthy marriage can look like. They represent a kind of love that is steadfast, grounded in reality, and driven by mutual belief rather than superficial ideals. Their relationship shows that love can coexist with ambition, that careers and dreams can flourish side by side, and that true partnership elevates both people equally. Ultimately, the celebration of their love is not simply about admiration, it is about inspiration. It encourages people to seek relationships rooted in respect, patience, honesty, and purpose. It teaches that love is not about perfection, it is about choosing each other repeatedly, even through difficulty. It emphasizes that happiness is not something discovered, but something created through shared effort, shared dreams, and shared values.